Hello, this is the Wall 200. I'm here with a debunking video of Seth the Programmer. Now, before you leave your hate comments and dislikes, please hear me out. I will be coming in time to time, not including the whole video because I want to adhere to fair use as much as possible. Plus, the parts I cut out are where I agree with them and I can't really quote unquote debunk them. But fair warning, I just would like, everyone to listen to my reasoning and my logic before leaving the so-called hate on my channel. Now, this is, of course, an option and not required. With that being said, let's begin.
Going by the definition of the disaster tiers in One Punch Man, a god-level threat would be a threat endangering the survival of all of humanity, or something that could destroy all of humanity relatively quickly. Which literally means that a Cyberman from the Saiyan Saga, every single Cyberman individually, would be a god-level threat in One Punch Man. Simply because they scale past King Piccolo. King Piccolo can obliterate cities casually, and he said he could destroy all life on the planet. And there's also, Piccolo, who vaporized the moon with exatons of force, which would be almost small planet level, simply due to the velocity and the way he obliterated it beyond its gravitational pull exponentially. So these Cybermen would be able to would probably be able to life wipe the planet or destroy a large chunk of Earth.
I really think you're making an argument from the ignorance. Mainly because there's no feats or evidence pointing towards that they could destroy humanity besides you scaling them from King Piccolo, who has actually been shown with a feat who can destroy a city. Now, if you take the Cyberman from the anime or the manga, there's no feats that proves that they could destroy a city effortlessly. Yes, you can assume that they can because they're stronger than King Piccolo. But that's not fact. The fact remains that we don't know what they're capable of. And if I were to put them on the scale, on the One Punch Man scale, I'd probably put them on the demon level and maybe dragon, because I don't see them destroying a city maybe altogether effortlessly. Yeah, maybe. But we don't actually see those kind of feats. They killed Yamcha they had to self-destruct to even do that. So, and that explosion was quite small comparatively to a big city or a small city. So there's no feats that confirm that they could kill humanity. Like, the very best I can highball them to is the demon level, which is a threat to a whole city or its functionality, because there's nothing proven feat-wise or statement-wise, for that matter, that they could kill humanity.
Yeah, so essentially with Boros, you could say he's star level to be very generous. However, there is a problem. So the main problem here is that there are multiple translations for how Boros versus Saitama went. So in the webcomic, he says, I'm going to wipe you off the face of the earth. In the manga, he says, I'm going to destroy the surface of the earth. And then the data book says, hey, he can destroy the surface or the earth. And then the One Punch Man compass says he can destroy planets to stars. However, a lot of people, especially on Reddit, have gone out of their way to translate this, and they said the translation could actually be planets, sun, or a sun. It could either be a planet or a sun. And obviously, Boros being planet level is the more consistent showing. It's the more consistently stated and translated variant.
I find it pretty funny that you were talking about fallacies throughout this video, and you commit one right here. It's called a popularity fallacy, just because it's widely accepted as the most translated variation out there doesn't mean it's indeed fact. That's why it's called a popularity fallacy. But what I find really funny is how you completely and utterly contradict yourself in a previous video saying Saitama was solar system level. Let me play it for you.
are a little bit more skeptical. We thought that Saitama was at bare minimum multi-planetary because Boros was at least a planet buster and Saitama was probably suppressed. Now it's looking more like Saitama is more like multi-star to solar system level using this guide. And this guide is, of course, official by Viz and one interviews
of how his power works. The star one is actually an outlier. It's like 0.5 out of 4 options, pretty much. So it's really highballing. So a highballed Boros would be star level. I'd say then how he should normally be scaled would definitely be planetary because that's how he's normally stated. And a low ball would be that he's surface wiper, obviously. So from there, if we're using a highballed Saitama, he would scale to be numerous times star level if you give him the benefit of the doubt. Notice how many benefits of the doubt we have to give these characters. We can't just argue with them normally. Give Saitama the extreme benefit of the doubt and say he only used 1% against Boros. A serious punch is serious versus a character that also destroyed his limits. Boros did state that he's not mortal limited like mortals are. Uses a serious punch, stated in the One Punch Man compass as well that people used to highball him. Is only 1% is also generous. So over at least 100 times star level, right? However, Krillin scales to current Android 18. Now, 18 in the past fought Super Saiyan Trunks. Super Saiyan Trunks is the same guy that gutted Mecha Frieza, the same one that was stronger than Frieza, who's hundreds of times stronger than his first form, and beyond that. But he thought he was stronger than Super Saiyan Goku at that point. Trunks guts him like butter, and then Trunks comes in with a little bit more training, a little bit more power, versus Android 18, and Android 18 completely tanks his sword slash and snaps his sword or cracks it just by holding her arm up. So Super Saiyan star levels of power don't even make this android flinch. So that means if Boros shot a star level attack at 18, she could quite literally block it with one arm without even moving. So that's something that you really need to consider here. And
yeah, here we are again with the utter contradiction that you also had in a previous video where you stated that Saitama again was Android level, if not semi-perfect cell level. Let me play that for you too.
relative to suppress Saitama, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so the verdict is going by scaling, feats, guides, whatever we have at our disposal. Cell pretty much shit stomps. Like,
yeah, not even trying to be rude. I actually think Saitama's a really fucking powerful character. I mean, easily Android level. Like, I would say he's more like comparable to Android 18 and 17, honestly. Possibly semi-cell, even. Yeah, maybe semi-cell. But at least...
Yeah, at most I could see him like Cell Games level, maybe.
Yeah. That's if you're being generous to Boros, which he's probably not even that level to begin with. And then next, Krillin and 18 train for Dragon Ball Super. They prepare to be ass pulled by Toriyama to be relevant, right? And this is kind of showed with Android 17 as well. Android 17 just kind of casually training on his little island, just fighting poachers, doesn't really care too much about anything, maybe doing a little push up here or there. Is capable of fighting Super Saiyan 3 Goku in the manga, and is able to push Goku to Super Saiyan Blue in the anime.
Stronger than Gohan.
So from there, Android 18 goes to the Tournament of Power, and she fights Majora, right, with Krillin. Majora kicks 18, and 18 is stronger than ever now. We've seen androids with just a little bit of training become exponentially strong. We've seen it with Frieza as well. So with her exponential training increase, she holds her arm up just like she did versus Trunks, and Majora one-shots her through her arm with a kick. Krillin then comes in and is able to finesse this same fighter, throws a shoe on his nose, and blasts him out of the ring. So by this point, Krillin is beyond the previous levels for Super Saiyan.
I got a question. Do you honestly believe he could have won without the shoe? Because he outsmarted this fighter, okay? Let's be perfectly honest. Using this same logic, Krillin eliminated in their practice fight Gohan using the solar flare. Is he more powerful than fucking Gohan after he trained with Piccolo? No, fucking course not. What are you on, man?
It's insanely powerful. Now, if we're giving Krillin the Saitama treatment, if we were really being fair here, he might high-key scale to base Gohan. And we've seen Krillin versus base Gohan before. Now, base Gohan, he's capable of fighting Lavender, who scales to Basal.
You do realize he had to take a drug that enhanced everything. His strength, his his speed, as far as I know, his ki to match Majin Buu, and he still lost. So how the hell is Basil stack up to Lavender at fucking all? I have no fucking idea.
The Destructo Disk is able to kill people over tens of times more powerful than Krillin. And I would argue that Saitama being solar system level is a bit out there, even for us, because even when highballing Saitama
are a little bit more skeptical, we thought that Saitama was at bare minimum multiplanetary because Boros was at least a planet buster and Saitama was probably suppressed. Now it's looking more like Saitama is more like multi-star to solar system level using this guide. And this guide is, of course, official by Viz and one interviews.
Because even when highballing Saitama, it's like 100 times star level is not solar system level.
Actually did a calculation, and the difference between a star buster and a solar system buster is like over 3,000 times, bare minimum.
To give like an exact answer to Krillin's speed, because Saitama is obviously dozens to possibly hundreds of times the speed of light. We know that Krillin, at least in the Saiyan saga, he'd be faster than light since Piccolo was able to destroy the moon at relativistic speeds. If you want to lowball, you could say that Kid Goku is faster than lightning, and if Krillin becomes 3,000 times faster than Goku, he'd be faster than light, which we know is a fact because obviously Krillin, he goes from his...
No, I know what you're going with this, but ultimately your logic fails because you don't show any feats. He hasn't performed any feats. Yes, logically it does make sense that he scales with his power level, and I know you're trying to use the examples of the power levels to scale him further. He's exponentially amount of this powerful than good Kid Goku, and he could go faster than the speed of lightning. But since we have no proof of that, you're pretty much another fallacy is the burden of proof. Now you're putting that onto your audience to prove you're wrong with your logic. This is a fallacy because you can't prove you wrong. Your statement, I can't prove you wrong, because there's no evidence saying he can't do this. That in itself is a fallacy too. So I don't see why you're comparing these, because Saitama actually does have the speed feat that's pretty damn close, if not the speed of light, but Krillin does not. So what the hell?
We're using power levels for this. Power levels we're using the guides, they're official.
I know they're bullshit.
Nobody but fanboys say power levels don't matter. And obviously power levels aren't relevant past the arcs they were used, but there are guidebooks, made by Bird Studios and that are, approved by Toriyama. Even Toriyama himself uses power levels for when they're still relevant. So the power levels are Kid Goku's at 260 and Krillin versus Frieza is around 75,000. This is stated in the guide. Or you could say that post his potential unlock, he reaches 13,000. You could say that Piccolo, when he blew up the moon, is under Raditz, who was 1,500 as well. So basically, no matter really how you really slice it, at around the Saiyan or early Namek saga, Krillin would hit faster than light speeds. There's no really way to argue that. And obviously, if he's becoming stronger than a Super Saiyan, who's over 150 million, he'd be tens of thousands of times stronger than those previous calculations, which would be faster than light, even if you used the low-balled lightning scaling and ignored the exponential increase of characters. And of course, if you say he scales to the Buu saga because you want to wank him like you want to wank Saitama, right? Then he would be massively faster than light because Buu is obviously going to destroy the universe in a few billion years, and the universe is possibly septillions of light years, if not far, far, far greater, right? So there's no real way to say that Saitama reaches anything around those levels, which is absolutely ridiculous. And you'd be going beyond headcanon, and you'd be committing to a Hitchens razor. You'd be claiming things without evidence. And we do not commit to fallacies. We like to argue with objective fact. If Saitama comes out tomorrow and destroys the universe, that's great. That's wonderful. Your headcanon was correct. But we don't argue with headcanon here.
It's funny that you fall right into that Hitchens razor yourself because you claim Krillin can go faster and stronger and all this shit than Saitama, but you didn't provide any proof besides the power scaling and power levels. Well, that does make logical sense. That's not proof of the contrary, which is hilarious that you made some fallacies yourself, including the one that you just mentioned. So, in conclusion, I think he just did this to piss off the, One Punch Man fan base and get all the fucking nerds to type angry comments into his video. And I'll probably get that myself, but I am more than prepared to get the backlash no matter how I presented myself, what evidence I provided in this video, or my reasoning or logic behind that. With that being said, thank you for listening, like, comment, subscribe.